The last time you were truly, completely bored, no phone, no podcast, no background noise, how long ago was that? Not waiting in line bored, where you immediately pulled out your phone. Actually bored. Staring at the ceiling, thoughts drifting, nothing to do, and nothing filling the gap. For most people watching this, the honest answer is, they can't remember. And that should concern you. Not because boredom feels good, it doesn't. But because what happens inside your brain during boredom is some of the most important processing your mind ever does. And right now, you're systematically starving yourself of it. Here's what we've been told: boredom is wasted time. Idle hands. A problem to be solved. And for most of human history, we solved it badly, staring at walls, twiddling thumbs, bothering people who were trying to work. Then, sometime around 2010, we got the perfect solution. A device in every pocket that guaranteed you would never have to be bored again. Any moment of emptiness, the elevator, the bathroom, the 3 seconds waiting for your coffee, could be instantly filled. Infinite content. Always available. Perfectly calibrated to keep you engaged. We called it convenience. We called it entertainment. What we didn't call it, what nobody really told us, was an experiment. The largest experiment in human attention ever conducted, run not by scientists with ethics boards, but by companies with engagement metrics. And we were the subjects. The results are starting to come in, and they're not great. Your brain has a mode most people have never heard of. It's called the default mode network, and it only switches on when you're doing nothing. Not sleeping. Not zoning out in front of screen. Actually doing nothing. Unstimulated. Bored. When the default mode network fires up, your brain starts doing something remarkable. It begins connecting dots, processing unresolved emotions, running simulations of future scenarios, generating ideas that couldn't surface while you were busy reacting to input. This is where your best thinking lives. Not in the meeting, not in the scroll, in the gap between things. A researcher named Sandy Mann at the University of Central England ran a study where she asked participants to do something painfully dull: copy numbers from a phone book before completing a creative task. The bored group significantly outperformed the control group. Boredom hadn't dulled them. It had primed them. Here's what that means practically. Every time you feel that first flutter of boredom and immediately reach for your phone, you are interrupting a cognitive process your brain was trying to run. You're closing the program before it finishes loading. And you're doing it dozens of times a day. This isn't entirely your fault. I want to be clear about that. The apps you're using were designed, at a granular, obsessive, billion-dollar level, to make the feeling of boredom intolerable. Every pull to refresh, every autoplay, every notification is an engineering decision made to ensure that the moment you feel discomfort, relief is one tap away. Former engineers at these companies have said it plainly. The goal was never to serve you content. The goal was to make leaving feel worse than staying. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, these platforms don't just fill your boredom. They recalibrate your tolerance for it. Use them long enough and your baseline shifts. Silence starts to feel wrong. Empty moments start to feel like emergencies. The gap between stimulus and stimulus shrinks until there's no gap at all. And here's where it gets serious. A brain that can't tolerate boredom is a brain that can't sit with discomfort. Can't think long thoughts. Can't solve problems that don't have fast answers. Can't be present with people who aren't entertaining it every moment. You don't just lose creativity. You lose depth. But here's what I find genuinely hopeful about this. The brain is not broken. It's responding rationally to the environment you've given it. Change the environment, even slightly, and it responds. Think about boredom the way you think about hunger. Hunger isn't a malfunction. It's a signal. Your body telling you it needs something. You don't solve hunger by feeling bad about being hungry, you eat. Boredom is the same signal. Your brain saying, I've processed the immediate input. I'm ready to go deeper. Give me space. The people who learn to read that signal, to sit with it instead of silence it, report something counterintuitive. Boredom, when you stop fighting it, doesn't last. It transforms, usually into curiosity or creativity, or a thought you didn't know you needed to have. That transformation is the point. That's the nutrient. So what do you actually do? 3 things. Specific, small, and actually sustainable. First, designate dead zones. Pick 2 or 3 moments in your day that are non-negotiable phone-free. Not a 24-hour detox. Not a dramatic reset. Just the walk to work, the first 10 minutes of lunch, the shower. Moments where boredom is allowed to show up. You're not meditating. You're not being productive. You're just not filling the gap. Second, delay the reach. When you feel the pull, That itch to check something, scroll something, play something. Set a 90-second timer and wait. Not forever. 90 seconds. Let the discomfort peak and notice that it passes. You're literally retraining your tolerance threshold. Small reps, done daily, add up faster than you'd expect. Third, audit your autofills. Autoplay off. Notifications off for every non-essential app. These aren't lifestyle tweaks. They are removing the mechanisms that were specifically engineered to interrupt your boredom before it can do its job. You're not fighting willpower. You're changing the architecture. None of this requires quitting anything. The apps aren't going anywhere, and you're not going to stop using them. But you can stop letting them make every decision about when you think and when you don't. There's a version of you that thinks more clearly, creates more freely, and feels less scattered. Not because you added something to your life, but because you stopped filling every empty moment with noise. That version of you isn't more disciplined. They're just better at being bored. The gap between thoughts used to be where everything interesting happened. It still can be. You just have to stop treating it like a problem. Leave it alone for 90 seconds. See what your brain does with it.